Good morning, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio, Sondoland in Normandy, France, on the D-Day beaches. I'm sitting here in the room on the ground floor of our family home, and if you read the D-Day article I wrote last week, I'm sitting here with my laptop on a desk that was probably used by a British soldier or officer when they billeted this house during D-Day. So be sure and read and listen to or watch that podcast article a week ago entitled Dirty Dark Secrets of D-Day. But let's go to Asia. Tiananmen redux, West pushing Baba Beijing to send PLA into Hong Kong. Pictured above, People's Liberation Army, the PLA, soldier saluting Chinese flag during the daily raising and lowering ceremony at their base on Hong Kong's Stonecutters Island. The 1989 Tiananmen Square protests are the CIA's color revolution template that has been successfully used around the world for the last 30 years to destroy and take control of anti-imperial countries. Won't overturn the Chinese people's communist-socialist way of life. A 30th anniversary military intervention in Hong Kong would be a powerful big lie propaganda machine, the BLPM, quote, totalitarian poster child, end of quote, cudgel, to pound the mainland for another 3 decades. Note before starting, when writing CIA, or more correctly, CIA complex, it includes all the West spy agencies, among them MI6, UK, DGSE, France, BND, Germany, ASIS, Australia, etc. Also includes their ministries of foreign affairs, embassies, thousands of front NGOs which are financed by the above, by billionaire global capitalists, such as George Soros and Pierre Omidyar. Can also include NATO and its military contractors, the West government-managed, quote, free press, as well as transnational corporations which are full of CIA non-official covers, called NOCs, not to mention global and local organized crime cartels who do a lot of their black ops. It's one big Frankenstein family raping and plundering the world's human and natural resources while making the 99% poorer and poorer. It's you and me. All right, here we go. On July 1st, 1997, Britain finally renounced its 110-year colonial control of Hong Kong, abbreviated HK. Margaret Thatcher and Deng Xiaoping had hammered out the basic law which set the course for China's reintegrated Special Administrative Region, and Hong Kong is abbreviated HKSAR. The concept was a novel one country, 2 systems, which was to last for 50 years until 2047. It stipulates that Hong Kong is an inseparable part of China, over which the mainland has the ultimate right to make all necessary administrative and policy decisions. The SAR would have a high degree of independence in its legislature and judiciary. That day, the PLA took over all of Britain's military properties on the territory's islands and on the mainland of Hong Kong and Kowloon and New Territories. There are 1 to 2 divisions of PLA troops there, about 9,000, including small naval and air force detachments. They stay put, raising and lowering the Chinese flag every day and doing military drills to stay sharp. I've never seen a PLA soldier on Hong Kong streets, so they must change into their civvies when they leave their bases. I fully explained in the China Trilogy books, see below, how Baba Beijing controls Hong Kong via China's Standing Committee, a 25-person high-level group of administrators chosen from the country's legislature, National People's Congress, NPC. West's big lie propaganda machine, BLPM, carefully manipulates the mainstream media to give everybody behind the Great Western Firewall the impression that Hong Kong is still, quote, independent, end of quote, and, quote, separate, end of quote, from China. Never mind that Hong Kong/Canton has been a city in China for thousands of years. It was incorporated into China during the Qin dynasty, 200 years before Jesus Christ was born. Never, quote, left. Its only distinction is that it was the West colonially occupied international drug, and that being heroin and cocaine, and money laundering capital, 1839 to 1997, which is nothing to be proud of unless you are a global capitalist. These high crimes are just another paragraph in your business prospectus and line items in your financial statements. Now that Hong Kong is no longer occupied by Western colonialists, if needed and according to the basic law, Hong Kong's government can ask the local PLA garrison to help keep the peace. On the mainland side, national law says that the PLA would only be used in war if China's national security was at risk or if the Hong Kong government lost control. Either way, this would have to be voted on by the Standing Committee. Western-controlled rioters have been tearing up the place just meters away from some PLA bases. The CIA complex is ratcheting up the rioting violence and chaos per Chapter 2 of their Color Revolution playbook. The West used snipers in 2014's Mainland, Kiev, Ukraine coup d'etat to randomly kill protesters on both sides in order to create chaos, fear, and confusion. Such an atmosphere of terror, making citizens become mindless sheeple. They aren't using firearms in Hong Kong yet, since the local mafia, the triads, have smuggled weapons in a country with very strict gun control laws. But the CIA complex is using the same method. Check out the two videos below. One shows white-shirted rioters beating people in a Hong Kong metro station, and the other shows black-shirted rioters beating white-shirted protesters on a street at night. According to the script, white shirts are pro-government and black shirts are anti-Chinese. So, who is who? Is it really black-shirted anti-government thugs and white-shirted pro-Chinese types getting revenge? Or is the CIA using triads to represent both sides to cause Hong Kongers to cannibalize each other, like happened in Ukraine? Either way, triads are for hire to provide protection or muscle and have no allegiance to anyone except cold cash. It is an open secret that the CIA complex around the world works hand in hand with organized crime for its drug/arms/human trafficking empire, extortion, blackmail, assassinations, and endless false flags. It's clear where this is heading. Your Angloland knows it is not going to be able to overthrow the Chinese people's communist-socialist way of life, although it got close in 1989. The next best way to destroy the Chinese is to create so much violence and chaos that the Hong Kong government loses control, by forcing Baba Beijing to send out the PLA. This would be a huge loss of face for the mainland government, and a massive, quote, new Tiananmen Square massacre, end of quote, that never happened, would be planted in the minds of people around the world. With the West brainwashing BLPM and its bought-for prostitute mainstream media providing, quote, free press authenticity, end of quote. Tiananmen Square is the CIA's most successful psychological warfare propaganda coup ever. They have convinced most of humanity that the PLA massacred thousands in 1989. This is, of course, a propaganda lie. It is the anti-communist, anti-socialist, anti-Chinese gift that just keeps on giving and giving a generation later. It would do anything to pull off the same thing for the next 30 years about a fictitious, quote, Hong Kong massacre, end of quote. In 28 years, Hong Kong's SAR status ends, so no Western color revolution can happen thereafter. Chapter 3 in the CIA's Color Revolution playbook includes wantonly killing innocent citizens. Hong Kong police intelligence got Hong Kong police got intelligence on a planned bombing terrorist plot, luckily stopping it before it could happen. Kilograms of powerful explosives were seized, enough to blow hundreds of people to bits. Anti-government riot gear and propaganda materials were also found. One man was caught on site in the process of cooking this stuff up, and 2 were later arrested. Hopefully they will talk about who is backing them and paying for all the gear. Like I said in my previous Hong Kong article, the CIA complex is going to make it much worse in Hong Kong before it hits bottom. 3 cheers to Hong Kong's brave and beleaguered policemen and women. They and their government leaders deserve medals for practicing Chinese Zhen, way above and beyond the call of duty. If this were the U.S. or France, thousands of protesters would already be shot at, injured for life, and or in prison. In closing, I'd like to dedicate the following song to the citizens of Hong Kong. Friends, you are being played like a bad piano by your Anglo-land and its global capitalists who are hell-bent on destroying you. The Rolling Stones street fighting man explains, you're fighting the CIA's straw man, communist-socialist China. If you want to hit the streets, protest against the West's worldwide Wehrmacht and the 10 billionaire families that own Hong Kong and own you. Your future is going down the tubes because of neoliberalism, not because of Baba Beijing. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, signing out from Armanche-les-Bains in Calvados, Normandy, France. Have a wonderful week.